fintech company. State House correspondent Musbah Wahab reports.
President Bola Tinubu makes an unusual appearance in his office this Saturday. It is for a course with potential to enhance his administration's developmental plan for youth empowerment and economic advancements. Fintech. This is what Flutterwave, an African fintech company from Nigeria, creating platform for digital and cross-border payments, says he has been doing for about a decade on the continent.
We have built a system that has made it easy for Nigerians to pay for Uber, Netflix in Naira here in Nigeria. We've gone to attract global merchants to come to Nigeria and localize their payments now in Nigeria. In the last couple of years as well, sir, we launched a remittance platform, which is that how do we help Nigerians, even in diaspora, sir, to send money back home to Nigeria and help us to generate foreign currency in Nigeria today.
And are apparently convinced by the current administration's commitments toward boosting investments in the country. The company, as it seeks collaboration of the governments, expresses readiness to expand its scope and create more opportunities for Nigerians.
Why can't we create liquidity for Nigerians in Nigeria? And we think that should happen at this time. What we build with your support, sir, we will show that indeed Nigeria can build global companies that will scale and ensure that Nigeria really is ready for business.
Our role here really is to drive financial and strategic positioning of Nigeria's influence by promoting the country's economic sovereignty and its economic supremacy.
As Mr. President, we would also be interested in Nigeria investing and benefiting from your deep involvement in growing the economy, digitizing the economy, helping to diversify it, and most important of all, upskilling our young people, our teeming population, which is going to actually be the workforce of the world in future.
We believe that as part of our dominance, economic dominance within the continent, we need to begin to spend money, our own money, in the country. And I would also suggest that if we're going to take a position in there, we should insist that the hosting, part of that revenue should stay in Nigeria by them having that service being hosted in Nigeria, Your Excellency.
President Bola Tinubu has from the outset been assuring of his administration's readiness in removing hindrances on the way of doing good businesses in the country. And here, he finds this company a potential right partner in his plan to open up investment opportunities for a greater economy.
Leadership that you are providing in the digital world is what Nigeria needs today to grow its economy, to identify its population, to make life easy for thousands and millions of people. And if they ride well on your platform, and you create all those branches and, little yokes, you definitely make a great Nigeria possible.
The company is to work out areas of collaboration with relevant government agencies in the coming days. From the State House, Musbah Wahab, NTA News.
Now, towards finding lasting solutions to the environmental challenges facing communities in the Niger Delta, the Senate Committee on NDDC has had an interface with the consortium made up of various agencies and international partners who presented a policy brief on recommendations for climate change, its impact on the lives of the people and the associated security challenges faced by coastal communities in the Niger Delta. It was agreed that there is an urgent need for Africa to take greater responsibility in addressing its challenges, especially when advanced economies are increasingly adopting protectionist policies. The response, they believe, must be informed by reliable data, without which interventions risk being inadequate or misdirected.
The link between environmental degradation, and social unrest is undeniable. To achieve lasting peace, we must first address the root causes. For this reason, I welcome this delegation and assure you that the insights and recommendations shared today will be taken seriously and relayed to the Niger Delta Development Commission and our colleagues in the Senate.
The urgency of the challenge was further underscored by the disclosure that Nigeria is having a fair share of this phenomenon.
West Africa is experiencing climate change at rates faster than the global average, leading to violent conflicts and complex humanitarian emergencies. Nigeria is already having much more than its share of this global phenomenon on natural resource availability, biodiversity, and agricultural productivity, among others.
Now, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) hands over the sum of more than $130,000 and 78,566 million naira to the governments of the United States, Spain, and Switzerland. Among the items handed over include a Mercedes-Benz and a bungalow in Ungwan Rimi, Kaduna, which was said to be as a result of intelligence report which led to the investigation and subsequent recovery of the monies and items. Handing over the restitution document to the representative of the various governments.
The demonstration of the commitment of the federal government of Nigeria to the fight against corruption and financial crimes. A commitment to good governance, a commitment to stimulating the economy, and a commitment to prove to the entire world that Nigeria is not a safe haven for financial crimes. A commitment to international cooperation and international synergy when it comes to the fight against financial crimes, which you all agree with me has become a global crime.
This is really unprecedented development, and the impact that this development will have on the mandate of the ministry, because it makes our work a whole lot easier.
We really do appreciate and we thank the EFCC. The EFCC is just not operating in Nigeria. The EFCC is a major global contender.
The Road Safety Officers Wives Association, ROSOWA, says it will commence advocacy against underage driving on Nigerian roads. ROSOWA President Dr. Nasifat Shehu Mohammed hinted these at sent forth of former President of the Association, Aisha Dauda Biu, while emphasizing the dangers inherent in engaging in such act. Oyemi Ajayi has details.
The event is a send forth of the former president of Road Safety Officers Wives Association, ROSOWA, Aisha Dauda Biu. But the issue of concern is the inherent cases of underage driving in the country. In 2016, 7% of recorded deaths involved children, and a larger number were as a result of underage driving. Hence the need for proper campaigns, especially from secondary schools, according to the ROSOWA presidents.
We are trying to see how we can clamp it down to the barest minimum, because I can't imagine we as parents leaving our younger children driving or committing the roads without the right age. Secondary school is our catchment area, because that's where we can propagate, we can talk, we can educate and advocate that.
Well, as for the celebration, ROSOWA members were charged to remain united and disciplined in ensuring a strong association is built and preserved.
You must speak with one voice. You must be one ROSOWA. When you organize your programs, you must do it together. Respect yourselves. There should be no room for backbiting and infighting.
Our motto is road safety, unity, and discipline. So the main thing of this association is the unity among every member, especially support for the the president.
Because I did not expect this, but I know this thing comes from Almighty Allah. I dedicate this.
Awards and plaques were given to past and present presidents of the association, as well as some outstanding members. Oyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Now, it was part of an effort to rekindle the flames of the once vibrant works of the literature that the Association of Nigerian Authors Reading Writing Dialogue came up in Abuja. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo was the guest author with a piece on the role of a writer in nation building. Ayodeji Makinde reports.
Nigeria is regarded as home to some of the best writers in the world. While some are no more, this monthly event by these men and women of letters is a deliberate attempt to keep the art of writing, reading, and counting alive. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo, a renowned author, accompanied by associates, engaged participants in an interactive session highlighting the invaluable roles writers play in the development of any country. At this day of social media influence, General Obasanjo calls on youth to dedicate time to reading books as they contain secrets of mystics and pathways to future successes.
If you sit down and you say you are leaders of tomorrow, that tomorrow will never come. Those who are there today will destroy your tomorrow, and you won't have any tomorrow where you will be leader. You are leaders of today. Take up with today.
We initiated prize contests like the poem of the week and the short story of the bi-weekly, as well as the Young Writers Club, where writers were mentored and empowered to publish their creative works.
There was a poetry slam, which sprang up open mic contests between secondary and tertiary institution students, while their voices as Gen Zs boomed in the hall with different classes of generations in attendance. 87-year-old Obasanjo of the Silence Generation was presented with autographed copies of books by 13-year-old Adeyanju twins of the Alpha Generation. In Abuja, Ayodeji Makinde, NTA News.
Now, African countries are urged to leverage the public-private partnership in the continent's economic landscape. Through PPP, identified as a catalyst against neo-colonialism in Africa, leaders can gain full political and economic stability, long pursued for the continent. The view of an erudite scholar, Professor Kingsley Moghalu, alongside speakers at a lecture as part of activities of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja. Garba Natala reports.
And challenging times globally, Africa remains underdeveloped, speakers say, trapped in economic neo-colonial forms, aid interventions hindering sustainable growth. Speakers here agree that through strategic public-private partnerships, Africa can reduce dependence on foreign aid and determine how to conceptualize PPP as an innovative solution.
By embracing public-private partnerships, strengthening our institutional frameworks, and investing in leadership development, we can leverage the private sector for development outcomes, avoid debt traps, and pave the way for a self-reliant and prosperous Africa.
For our continent to be part of solution rather than of the problem to global challenges, Africa must put all instruments at our disposal to use. Now, this is a shared responsibility for all.
We must leverage on the potentials of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area in reshaping the growth of African economies whilst expanding the opportunities present for its largest demographic dividend.
It is projected that Africa accounts for 7% of PPP investment, indicating a low level of growth. Hence, there is need to educate policymakers to strengthen institutions.
As a country, you recognize that when the private sector is involved, when you have a contract, whichever government comes in, you're going to respect that contract. You're not going to have these funds into the PPP.
We will agree, we will have terms of engagement, we will have profit sharing. Then, now let's talk about the people that are in service. How do we accommodate them?
To positively impact the foreign policy of Nigeria, we will continue to make available to the policymakers the result of our brainstorming exercises to guide our foreign policy options.
With the theme Economic Liberation Through PPP, a catalyst against neocolonialism in Africa, the lecture promotes President Tinubu's 4D Foreign Policy Trust and highlights the need for Nigeria to leverage sustainable solutions to drive the desired development. In Abuja, Garba Muhammad Atala, NTA News.
This is the news at 11. We now take a short break. We'll be back in a moment. To stay with us. Now, the Sakina Medical Outreach, in collaboration with the UK Charity Commission and medics across continents, is conducting a week-long medical outreach and high-tech surgeries to over 95 less privileged Nigerians. Suleiman Abdul Wahab reports that this is part of a global effort that has previously reached countries such as Somalia, Bangladesh, and Ethiopia.
Medical outreach is expected to focus on treating patients with complex medical conditions. Chairman of medics across the world, Professor Martin Sharif, emphasized that these surgeries are not only about providing immediate relief, but also improving long-term quality of life for the patients.
So we are here to introduce minimally invasive surgery because that's better for the patients. Less pain, less blood loss, faster recovery. Cosmetically, the results are better, and then the patient can get back to working, which is very important.
Nigeria is one of the stops, of course, at the moment. In the past, we have worked in Malawi, Somalia, Ethiopia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and multiple other countries, including Gaza.
We have done minimally invasive surgery of kidney stone removal, uretroplasty, gallbladder surgery, laparoscopy, cholecystectomy, and many other surgery.
This high-tech surgery these doctors are trying to carry on, they say it's less pain, quick recovery, and lower complications. Many of the patients shared how the treatments have given them hope for a brighter future and a chance to live healthier and more fulfilling lives.
But I thank God for this outreach that come to my rest.
Initially I couldn't eat something, but with this surgery, I can now start eating so.
Professor Muhammad Raji Mahmoud, Chief Medical Director at National Hospital, highlighted the importance of continued investment in staff training.
Should we invest into this high-end healthcare? Yes. My answer would be yes. As a country, we should invest into this high-end healthcare. And must we wait for government to put these things in place? No. Whether we like it or not, we have to be realistic. Government have a lot on its plate. And whichever administration that comes, they have done their best and they are doing their best.
The lecture was well delivered, and then virtually we all understand the lecture. And this is a take-home for us. It needs a lot of collaboration. It needs a lot of money.
This groundbreaking minimally invasive high-tech surgery not only showcases the latest in medical advancements, but also enable the patients to resume their daily activities. In Abuja, Suleiman Tobu Abdul Wahab, NT News.
Now, the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Kunle Salako, says that government is prioritizing the health and well-being of Nigerians by mitigating the peculiar challenges in the health sector. This was during an official visit to the Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Aro, and Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, Ogun State. Lekon Agmonde has details.
In a special arrangement, as part of his tour, the minister's entourage arrives at Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, and the 81-year-old Neuropsychiatric Hospital is the first port of call. They had a thorough assessment of ongoing and completed projects, and then an interactive engagement with staff and stakeholders in the mental health institution. The minister identifies 4 challenges that include manpower gaps occasioned by Japa syndrome, funding, power and energy, and the challenge of counterfeiting, but is optimistic that the robust mechanism being put in place, such as huge investments in training of more medical personnel, collaboration with relevant private investors, and other systemic arrangements by President Bola Tinubu's administration, is addressing the situation for positive turnaround in the sector.
Before now, for you to recruit health workers, you have to go through a very, very long process. But because of the priority that the President has placed, he has given us a waiver, where at the ministry level, we can sit down based on the request the hospitals have made, and we can issue them waiver, and then they can quickly go through the due process and engage workers. So we're able to replace workers that are leaving much more.
The Ogun State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Koka, and the Provost and Medical Director, Neuropsychiatry, Dr. Paul Agbola, are enthusiastic of remarkable achievements in the area of service delivery in the health sector.
We collaborate on the primary health level, on the secondary health level. At the moment, we have actually, we have what we call BMOG centers that the federal government has supported us in upgrading, and we would use places like Aro and a Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, as a tertiary referral center.
We're looking at collaborations from the Ministry of Health on the implementation of the Mental Health Act. And just like what the minister said, we hope to collaborate with the state government, to domesticate the Mental Health Act in Ogun State.
The train thereafter proceeded to the Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, where the minister also went on inspection tour of facilities and projects before an interactive engagement with the management and staff of the health institution. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agmode, NTA News.
Now, the governing All Progressives Congress says the monumental feats achieved by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu hope agenda within the shortest period in office is now wooing more Nigerians into the APC fold. The National Zonal Secretary of the party for North Central, Yakubu Adamu, says this while receiving a total of 500 defectors from PDP, SDP and Labour Party into the governing party. The zonal leader of the party specifically appreciates the giant strides of President Tinubu and the focused leadership provided by the National Working Committee of the party under the chairmanship of Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. Other leaders of the party say APC is firmly rooted on the foundation of quality.
Some important people from other parties like PDP and SDP, it is a plus to the party. And that is why we give this occasion a very good attention. Stage 1 to stage 100, by the special grace of God, will be receiving the campus.
Other leaders of the party say APC is firmly rooted on the foundation of quality leadership geared towards changing the narrative of the Nigerian economy and giving everyone a sense of belonging, as demonstrated by the party at all levels of governance. Party chieftains urged the new entrants to feel free and contribute to the growth and development of the party in all future elections, particularly with the FCT Council's election, which comes up next year. Now, acting national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Umar Iliya Damagum, says the current disagreements surrounding the party's forthcoming national convention will soon become a history of the past. In his remark at the 2025 PDP North-East Zonal Congress, Umar Iliya Damagum also says the major opposition political party has put in place proper mechanisms for successful political struggles. Awal Abdullahi reports.
A total of 623 delegates drawing from the 6 northeastern states participated in the election of the party leadership at the zonal level. Babangida Umar from Adamawa State emerged as the new zonal chairman with 601 votes.
We must work assiduously to unite our party, have unity of command and action, so that success will be ours in 2027.
This election is in line with the party's constitution of providing enabling playing ground for its members from the ward to the national level.
You can see internal democracy at work. We come here, we selected and elected our officers rank-free, and to say it all, they will continue with other zones, and by the time we have our national convention, you know that we are ready.
The Congress was attended by governors of Adamawa, Bauchi and Taraba states, alongside other stakeholders across the Northeast Zone. In Bauchi, Awal Abdullahi, NTA News.
This is where we end the late evening news at 11 and NTA News 24. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Justin Bemuni.